In the future, possibly the stopboards could be adjusted to have water flowing over them. We had a meeting with DNR today, and one suggestion is with those gates, when you have water going under those under high pressure, it's extremely dangerous. If you're upstream, if you're sucked in, or if you're downstream with the backwash. But maybe have water go around it, have those gates closed tight, and have water go over the stopboards. So the worst case is you go over and you bonk your knees or something versus getting stuck underneath. And then as you go downstream, you go under 4th Street, which has 3 concrete culverts, each 12 feet wide by 8.5 to 9 feet high. And the idea would be, picture yourself coming down in a boat and you go through the right bay, so looking downstream, the right bay, you paddle underneath it. The center bay would have the water coming, that's the remainder water from the dam. And then the most left bay would be a bike path underpass. And then as you paddle down, there'd be 2 more whitewater drops downstream of 4th Street, and those both would have the full flow of the river. So drop 1 and drop 2, and if you look today, there's quite a bit of gradient that goes through those culverts. And so you use that gradient to create these 2 drops. And not only would you create the drops, but improve the safety dramatically, because right now, especially today when the water's so high, if you attempted to go through those culverts, there's a very high velocity of pressure pushing you through, and if you wrap a canoe or something on one of those piers, it's really going to be bad. So not only these drops would create features, but they'd also calm that water so you wouldn't have so much pressure, and you'd be going through 1 bay, not 3. And then you have the 2 drops downstream, and then the continuous bike path that would connect to the regional trail underneath 4th Street and continue on upstream. And then it would allow for development along the powerhouse, which is out of use now, and that could be redeveloped and oriented toward the river, have a plaza down there, and a beach and river access, and also where it says a redevelopment area, similar type where new development can go, where the old buildings that just got removed could be oriented toward the river and the path, and have restoration and access on both sides of the river, upstream and downstream, and then a new pedestrian bridge connecting the path to Mann Park. So those are kind of all the components that we'd recommend to not only create continuous navigation around the dam, all the way through the Yahara River. Each one would have fish passages incorporated within them so fish can go upstream. And then you'd aid in fish habitat, fish passage, paddler enjoyment, recreational benefit, and then economic development in the downtown, near downtown, but oriented toward the river. So I'd probably talk longer than I need to, but I'd be happy to take questions or answer anything I can. Yes, sir.
Okay, old Whitewater voter, former national of the American Canoe Association. Question, I highly support this program, but my questions are on attraction, safety and access to safety. I'm not thinking of the whitewater voter with the lake jacket. I think his old flat water kayak with a big open cockpit or an open canoe, no life jacket, no helmet, high water, cold water, 40-degree water, spring, and say, well, I mean, give her a shot here. That, I follow the casualty list in the spring, but I just wondered what your experience with that
Did everybody hear his question?
No.
He's mainly concerned about safety, and particularly if it's more heavy-duty whitewater, and you've got big open boats, people without life jackets and helmets and marginal skill. What about the safety aspects? And
cold water.
And cold water too, which I didn't think it got cold in Wisconsin. It's just like today. Today's like every day when I went to school here. And it's an excellent question. Obviously, safety's got to be number one. And so all these would be designed with safety in mind. And what we strongly recommend to the city is have it designed for the novice, which obviously moving water, particularly moving cold water, is dangerous no matter what. But keep that in mind and to design it for everyone. So it's all abilities, and it's not so much what's there, but how you use it. So I've seen like a wave, say a standing wave, where a really good paddler or stand-up boarder is surfing on it, and the next second, 3 inner tubes come through. And so it's how people use those things, but to think where they're not big and retentive like some of the pictures. Reno and some of these places, or Cascade, all they wanted is world-class pounding whitewater. Not sure that would be appropriate here, and we don't have that size of river, but make it for everyone, not only for instruction, but for all abilities and all types of crafts to navigate through and use it. And if you want to get it beat up in a huge wave, come out to Colorado and be happy to accommodate it.
No, I'm just thinking of this will be a big attraction. Attraction to the people with minimal skills.
Sure.
You know, like I'm saying here, maybe in the off time or something, early morning, something like that, when there's nobody around. I don't know if there can be any safety control or safety lifeguards on duty or not.
Yeah, there wouldn't be. All these are open 24/7, have appropriate signage. But I think of Ann Arbor, where inner city Detroit kids were the main users, and it was real important to design it and to have warnings. Or Reno, there's a lot of inner city kids, and they had a free life jacket program because the kids couldn't afford a life jacket. And they said if you take a 2-hour safety course, you get a free life jacket. So there's a lot of ways to improve safety for these. Yes, ma'am.
So in the summertime, the Yahara River, doesn't flow really heavily. How would you work the river with the flow going through the bypass and over the dam, and would there be enough water? Have you guys looked at the annual flow over several years to kind of look at how that would be managed?
Yes, we have. In the conceptual report, we did a whole section on hydrology and hydraulics. We looked extensively at the flow. And this river is very different than I'm used to. It does not fluctuate that much. You're right, it'll get down low, but even low is a couple hundred CFS, or today I think it's running over 600, which to me is minimal fluctuation. We're used to 200 to 10,000, so which is much more difficult to design for. So we looked at it, and to be honest with you, with these channels, it's amazing how little flow you need to have navigation. Where we live in Boulder Creek, we were just paddling yesterday, and it's running less than 200, and it's much higher gradient, a lot more rocks and everything. So, or in that picture in Longmont, that was running 40 CFS. So you always have water, at least enough water to have depth, and obviously when the water goes up, the velocities increase, but you always have depth at all flows. Yes, sir.
Two comments. One related to gentlemen about safety. Maybe you consider this, but I think the Parks and Recreation people need to consider, like you say, what's your audience? We went to Manchester and did not like it early on because they said their primary users are fishermen, boaters, kayakers, canoeists, tubers, and admittedly it was a zoo. The way the drops were, if you were in an eddy in a canoe or a kayak, you couldn't see the tubers coming down. It was really dangerous right to just scurry across the jet because you were worried about sparing a tuber because they don't have any control. So that's something to consider also with safety. And you talk about some places that had 2 channels. This is purely selfish. I'd like to see one channel set up so you could do slalom and have more river-like moves. It would also be excellent for clubs and groups in the area to do training and more like that rather than drop into a wave or a hole.
Thank you. His comments are about conflict of users. We're in Manchester, we were there. They had, sounds like there was slalom kayaking, and there's tons of tubers coming down and other crafts.
There were people waiting on life jackets, diving head first down the drops. It was, in my opinion, safe an accident waiting to happen. Maybe they needed more signage or lower control.
And a point well taken. We paddled all these, and some of them suffer from their own popularity. But I have to be honest, I think most of the time, it's you know, people respect each other. Yeah, tubers can't really control themselves, so the kayakers tend to have to wait in eddies for them. But it's something I get, there are some management, I've seen some people do, you know, it's kind of tubing time and slow workout times and things like that. Unfortunately, I don't think we can split the channel in this river. It's so small that we got just enough to make it good. Something like the Bow River in Canada, the minimum flow is 10 or 12,000. So you want to split it as much as you can. Something this small, I think that's.
Things you mentioned too about fishing and the conflict. Where on the river in this, currently there are people fish just south of 4th Street. Is there any discussion about having any fishing for those people?
Any areas for fishing? Yeah, it would all be open to fishing. That area, I think, are you referring to just downstream of the dam? Yep, that'd all still be available for fishing. And then on the banks would be for fishing access, particularly some of these deflectors. You can come out, you actually get further out in the river to fish. And so all the banks can have accessible fishing areas also, so people can get down that are handicapped to be able to get to the water's edge. So it'd be for everybody. Yes, sir.
Fascinating concept. You can tell the audience what the total drops are, you know, for the whole project in each pool. How do you, you know, like thinking of knees and interviews, how do you keep things smooth as you create these chutes?
He was asking how we create these things smooth, and you were asking about the total drop. I'd have to look exactly, I think we're talking about 4 to 6 feet drop, I believe, total. Maybe it's a little bit more. Each drop, the maximum drop is 14 inches per drop, so these are not big, usually 12, 18 inches maximum. And if you look at these things, they're designed with a slope on them, so when it's dry, you see the smooth slope, and then it's got a dish in it, and then as you go to the crest, it's wider, and as you go down, it narrows down. So it's a combination of total drop, slope on the face, width of the crest, and width of the exit, and the tailwater downstream that interacts with that water coming down. So you have high velocity water interacting with calm water in a pool that creates a feature. And then you have the fish passage incorporated in the side. So even if you're naked in the inner tube going down on your butt, you slide down these things, and then you end up in the pool, swirling around, recover, and get back in. Yes, sir.
I see this, you know, we're going from in town of creating all your kids, stay away from the river, to suddenly we're going to have something that the kids are going to be flocking to on hot summer days and in their tubes. There's one thing I thought I saw on the plan, but I guess not. The access to get off the inner tube and walk back up doesn't get you to the start point again without crossing the road.
Right, so you'd have two choices. You could go up on the main trail and get in, and if you're in a tube, go across the lake and come down.
Across the mill pond.
Yeah, mill pond. The
But
other
that
one.
means you have to go past the dam.
Right. So not such a great option. The other one is you come up, cross on the sidewalk on 4th Street, and then come up the walk on this side.
But that's going to put you across the road.
We can go under the road and swing
All the
around,
way
and then,
walk.
exactly.
Because when I first saw that, I thought it was a underground crossing on the south side.
No, there's an at-grade crossing on the south side.
Because you have a beach to get out is on the north side, but you have to go all the way around.
Right, yeah. Or I guess you could take out on the right side downstream and come up, do an at-grade crossing across. But I think you're right, most people take out and then they have to come around on 4th Street.
Yeah, that's my only concern is because the kids are running back and forth across that street.
Yeah.
That may cause a problem.
Yeah. Well, there's such a vertical difference over by the powerhouse. It kind of forces you through that underpass.
Right.
And then you loop around and go on the sidewalk. So it's a little bit out of your way. Otherwise, you'd have to cross in the dam, which is blocked off. Yes, sir.
Yeah. I'm from Stoughton, and I'm highly supportive of the project. I really think this is great, and your example there of Solido, you know, and when you ask the question, how many people are from Stoughton, and there are a lot of people that weren't, shows that this will be a draw to our community and be good for the future. The second reason why I came here today is I thought maybe somebody might want to talk or hear from somebody who's actually gone down one of the rapids that you designed. And I have, Boulder Creek. And I went down it in an inner tube in my swimming suit. And it was fun. And Boulder Creek, I don't care what time of year you go down it, it's ice melt. So it's cold. Reasonably cold. Refreshing cold. And I can speak to it being refreshingly cold because I went through the first rapid and I bumped my butt on a rock. It's cold. I think I'm going to have to sit up a little shallow. It's a big tractor energy. So I went down to the second one, sitting a little higher, which I think I had a little bigger drop line. So I slipped. And my son-in-law was with me. And he got all panicked. I brought my father-in-law. and I came up laughing. It was a great time. I do it again, and I can't wait for this to be done.
Right. I appreciate that. And Boulder Creek is, like my sons just love inner tubing that creek, and we live on the creek. And so I've turned into an inner tuber. I was born and raised to be a kayaker or a stand-up boarder. And we even have a bumper sticker now that says tubers are people too. So after the meeting for $5, we got a bunch of those. But,
you want to make this a gentler one for beginners because of the community, the size of the river and everything. And I think that in of itself will make it very safe.
But I think your point's well taken. I think Boulder Creek is, everybody's, oh, it's just this little creek, but it'll get you, it's an eye-opener to you. And if you ever come to town, give me a holler, because we got a bunch of tubes and you'll find out what it's like. But I think Longmont or Ann Arbor, some of these are a lot more applicable to this, which is really cater really for the novice, not for real rocky high-end.
I've done small races at the Charleston site, and we have a really nice setup for a permanent post and the line gates across. The lower part of your course, with the last two drops and continuing, would that be possible to have some smaller gates set there? It's pretty wide in some places, and so is Charleston.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I think it would be way easier here. This is way narrower than way narrower than Charleston.
That's a very wide.
Yeah, that's a wide river, and you could do it. She's asked about slalom gates, and there or Salida, Boulder Creek, Golden all have permanent supports with the movable gates. So
it's real easy to set up and take down.
Take down, yeah. And where Calgary's doing it, they've got the same thing, only on the one channel, and so they can have events and practice, but then they can move the gates.
I could see a 15-gate tall on that, just looking at it, beginner's ball, one time a year.
Yeah. No, I think especially up here, you could have a lot different character, and then a little slower down below, and then a finish down in the calm water. And it's long enough, you could have a pretty fun little course there.
Yeah, it's a little course.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
I would say that there's been a lot of popular use from a couple local paddle clubs that we call local Madison paddlers and pushers. So I think other clubs like that, the structural programs, I'm sure we find it. And the other thing is just what's the decision making and process, like how much of a done deal is this, or what's got to happen next, and who decides, and just what's the future look like here?
So he's asking about what's the future of this, what's the process, and what's it look like moving forward. And I give my best shot, but Dan can answer that also. But to date we've completed this concept design and a cost estimate, and Dan has worked his butt off putting together a very big grant proposal to DNR. Would you say it's this thick is the grant application? And it's the city is for about $1 million or so. And that would be, the city will know if they are successful in that by July or August. And then there's, that'd be a portion of the funding. There's some other local funding. And then we met with DNR today and went through the permitting process through the state and the Federal Corps of Engineers. But, like I was asking the person earlier, explaining to, if you start today, you have to do the design, the permitting, and then go out to bid. All that usually takes minimum 6 to 8 months, probably more like a year plus. Plus, if you have the grants and the private match and all that, and then you've got the bid. And to build something like this is, to me, is the most fun and usually the quickest part. But this is, we're talking a 4 to 6 month construction to build something like this. I don't know, Dan, I don't know if you have anything to add or. Okay. Yep.
The one thing that seems to be missing is, I think it's great, but really the consideration for little kids, because Stoughton, we let our kids run free because we can. The idea of them crossing 4th Street, just having a really good, safe way, because in South Town, 4th Street's pretty busy and super busy. It just seems like a huge consideration.
Well, just to be clear, there's an underpass.
But it seems like if the side that people would be, or something. It just seems like kids will take the path of
Sure.
resistance, which will be right across 4th Street.
Yeah, no, I think it's good, and maybe there's an opportunity for bridging or modifying a bridge to shortcut them, so they don't have to cross 4th. Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
Can you just educate us on the dam? The dam is built for a certain use. What is going to happen with the dam that's there? And I know you said you were going to close the wall or something, but what's going to happen?
No, it's designed for the dam to remain identical as it is. The only comment I had is in the operation of the dam. Instead of, if you go out there today, the gates are here and all the water's high pressure, high speed going under those gates, and it's extremely dangerous. And so think about it, is one opportunity, you've got water coming into the lake, and you take a portion, say half of it, goes in this bypass channel. So then you could close the gates tight, and then there's 2 gates, but there's one more bay that doesn't have a gate on it, and you could force the water over it. And so have it spill over as opposed to under, and dramatically increase the safety of those gates. But the dam itself would remain the same. Yes, sir. Oh. Oh, thanks for pointing that out. Oosh. Yes, sir. The question is, are we going to have carnivals around the river like we're showing in the slides? And I'd say 24/7 carnivals all the time. And this is Wisconsin, man, come on. We're going to have bratwurst, we're going to have beer gardens, carnivals. I'd refer you to Dan, he's the Parks and Rec Director. I'm sure he's got ideas for that. But these things, over time, a lot of those pictures I showed are during festivals. They do have carnivals. They have all kinds of different activities for kids and kids my age to have fun. So just tons of fun activities can happen around these projects. Yes, ma'am.
So I was just wondering about water quality issues, especially since, stormwater, coli, algae blooms, we have a lot of them. Yahara, heavy duty, algae blooms. I was wondering if the DNR had, done anything or thought of anything that might be a risk for kids getting sick.
Wasn't too much discussion on it, and I'm not the water quality expert, although people have mentioned what you just mentioned. But the only response is it's out there now. You could go out there today or during any time of the year, so there's no change to that. These drops actually help improve water quality by aerating the waters as they drop through and create turbulence and aerate water. I'm not saying it's going to solve any water quality problem. But these projects also tend to bring public awareness to the river, and if there is a problem or somebody dumping paint or anything in there, people are notice it a lot more than if their eyes aren't on it. But again, I'm not a water quality expert, but when we worked on the South Platte River in Denver in the 70s, it was basically an open sewer and built a slalom course there. And the whole idea was to get people down there and see what a disgrace it is. And it really brought a lot of public pressure to clean that river up. It's dramatically cleaned up over the years. Okay, so maybe way back there.
I have a question earlier. I know that you discussed the gates on the dam, and it's only they're going to stay the same. I noticed though it does say possible adjustable weight. So considering that the dam is staying the same, is that eliminated or is that still a possibility?
Well, notice the word possible on there. The only reason I kept it on there is if this town wanted it, it seems like you could keep everything the same. And remember I said if you close the gates, you'd force the water through that one bay. And there's vertical stopboards there. Well, one possibility is adjust those and put a slanting slope on the downstream face of those. And you'd have a high-speed jet into a pool, which would create a high-speed wave. Which, if you're river surfers, if you've seen, I don't know if you've seen them in Munich, Germany, or up in Canada, we just have a new one in Denver. And they're small, they're high-speed, and they're surfers. And so it's really growing, it's really popular, it's a lot of fun. If you like surfing an ocean, it's identical except it's a standing wave, not a moving wave. And so you're surfing and the water's going under you and you surf standing up. So they usually cost millions because you have to build vertical concrete walls and concrete bases and all this stuff. Well, we already have all that here. So it's something that's not currently in the project, but it's something just to, we said put the word possible and throw it in. Yep.
Well, what's the average depth of the pools?
Average depth of the pools minimum is 3 feet from the exit elevation to the base of the pool, and then and that's dry depth. And then as you go downstream of the pool, it'll come up, and it's usually at the crest is anywhere from 1 foot to 18 inches, drops down, and then another 3+ foot. So depending on the flow, obviously, if the water's higher, the depth is more. At low flow, it's minimum 3 feet. So if you capsize your tube and you're flailing around, you don't hit anything, you still hit the water.
But you can still stand up there.
Oh yeah, then you can stand, yeah. Then plus what happens by the time you figure out which end is up, you're in the shallow part of the pool. The deepest part is on the upstream, the shallowest is on the downstream. Yep.
One other quick comment. I've asked people to reconsider the bit of fishing. I've never seen fishing and boating go together well. There's a Whitewater Park in Yorkville, Illinois, and the bypass channel has signs specifically say no fishing in bypass channel. There's another part of the river. If you're coming into Maggie or someone's coming down and someone's casting lures, I just don't see how that's safe for either people. The fishermen don't like boats pulling in, it's not really safe for boaters. That's something to think about.
There's a lot of no pond area to go around. Yeah, fish in the pool.
And season.
So, and I think that comment, he's talking about fishing and boating conflicts, and there could be others. And then you look at these things over the years, and I think now you're getting into kind of the management of these. And there's a lot of things, and Stoughton may be one that's different than any other. They have closed periods or portions. I'm just the engineer trying to build this. Yep.
I am surprised by the comments that something like this attracts people. That, I don't think a third of the people here, tuned in on that kind of thing until right now. The area on the map people do come here, and this is something that Stoughton's been looking for. What can we do to bring people to downtown Stoughton? As compared to, you know, Walmart on the west end of town, kind of thing.
And that's an excellent point with Man Park down there. I think of Reno, think of Boulder, Salida. One thing that's tough is there isn't a big park like this. And during festivals, even just busy times, from parking to, say you want to have a festival, to have acreage like that to spill out and spread out. And so I think you have the ideal, we have one side which is fairly dense development, and one side that's just a pretty open park, and so there's all kinds of things from just parking or events, event space, or all those type of activities. Yes, sir.
Can you be a little clearer about the features? And you mentioned novice and kids and tubes and all that stuff. Is there going to be any kind of freestyle whitewater on this, or are we just using whitewater as a general concept of moving water? Can you be a little more specific to the features?
Yeah. First response is it's a concept plan, it's not final design. And what I like to do is, in a community like this, is number one is listen. And what does this community want out of this? And Cascade, as I mentioned, Reno, they just wanted biggest, most powerful whitewater to attract the top-notch people and have the biggest world-class events. And then Longmont, Colorado wanted just the opposite of that. And so I guess what I was recommending is really focus on novice. So it's for everyone, but doesn't preclude freestyle. In fact, the two lower drops would be more conducive to freestyle, maybe not as retentive and as a big a foam pile as some really big, heavy freestyle feature, but still be adequate, especially for people learning the art of freestyle. The other thing, that we're talking 200 to 400 CFS normally, which is kind of hard to get something big. But I think most people, if you want to get a little freestyle boat, you could have fun in here, but it's not going to, you know, win the Olympic awards or anything. Yep.
One more safety chairman aspect here. I was also 8 years safety chairman. I hope you heard that. But those choke points between the little pools there, I'm thinking of somebody upside down in a kayak, doesn't know how to get out that broadside on those. What's the potential for broadside and upside down there?
Yeah, yeah, even though it's graphically, there's no way you're going to broach on these. Okay. You're going to get forced through.
You can't broach. Okay.
You can't broach. You're going to recover in the pool downstream. They vary, again, concept, but usually probably 12 to 18 feet wide. Those would be wider, yeah. Again, this is a graphic representation, but now you have the full flow of rivers, so those are wider than these.
Now, I know you probably can't answer this question, but maybe somebody else can. So this is part of a bigger plan on the Yahara River, you know, the whole connectivity, and I'm a paddler. So one of the things I would like to see too is the idea of, okay, we're going to have this bypass on this part. We also have a working electric dam at Dunkirk, which we don't have a portage, a very good portage for as well. And then they removed the Stevensville Dam down below. And so you could pretty much, other than the Dunkirk location, with this, you could pretty much kayak from, you know, the Kaganza all the way through. And I'm just wondering if there's any discussion or any thoughts as to, you know, working with the town of Dunkirk to make it more of a, you know, a longer, nicer paddle so that it can be a complete river experience.
Yeah, we've been working with the Bunker Family Association.
Sorry, I got it.
Yeah, I've been meeting with the Bunker Family Association. They really understand what we're trying to do. So, they don't have any plans to remove the dam there.
No.
So, you know, like maybe a portage would be the best you could probably get, but it'd be their decision, not the city. So, you know,
But I think once they see the traffic this gets, I think they'll be more conducive to that.
I was just wondering about like when working with the grants and working with the DNR and working with the other, with, the Yahara River, route, that it might be something to just put together as a proposal.
We can't hear anything back here.
We have a steering
We can't hear anything that's going on.
Get up front. Go up there.
Come on up.
So we're creating a steering committee for this project, and we'll start meeting in June. So like Gary said, this is a concept plan, so there's more input that's going to be gathered along the way before the engineering goes on for this project. Yeah. And one of the designations for a member for the steering committee is a whitewater, or a paddling enthusiast, I should say. And it's actually our city attorney who's a open canoe whitewater paddler. Very experienced.
Dan, before you leave, talk about remediation in case anything does come up here.
So the DNR sort of hit on that today also. So the sampling, what they would want to see is like really sampling where the dredging would be in the riverbed. And really the big cost for something like that, if it was contaminated, would be to dispose of the waste. And as far as I know, I talked to a consultant on this, and he said there'd be federal grants that we could apply for, and they're easily available.
Is there any plan for the mill bond? Because it's pretty mucky. I mean, it would just start at the edge and go back.
Yeah, there's no plans right now for the mill bond.
For what?
No bond.
This is a question, I guess, for one of you. So it's real important for the city and the RDA to make sure that we know the riparian zone on the north side, and also that walkway or bikeway on the north side, that trail, gets integrated properly between the RDA and the city park system, or the Whitewater Park. Are there any templates for what kind of structures or setbacks or whatever would be along that trail? Or Gary, I guess this could be for you, knowing what that area looks like. Are there certain cities where you've done projects where Stoughton can say, that's the kind of walkway we want, that's the kind of reduction we want, that's the kind of biofilter we want on the north side along the walkway area? Do you have any examples that you recommend?
If everybody heard it, you're talking about setbacks or templates for the walkway.
Yeah, we can start thinking about that. And what are your thoughts on what cities or places you work with are better than another?
Yeah.
Help us out.
Yeah, there's a lot of examples that I could refer you to. When in doubt, give it more room than you think, but obviously you don't too much and you're eating up all your redevelopment area. But you need a minimum for the path and a couple feet on each side for shoulders, and then appropriate riparian restoration area. Then from there toward the redevelopment, I've tons of examples of really cool, interesting interfaces between that river's edge and the trail and the next development, especially vertical integration, terracing, and it can be accesses to appropriate areas in the vegetation. So a lot of cool examples. But I'd say there's kind of a minimum template, but I would think a little bigger than that.
So could you, before you leave, just let Dan know which cities or areas you recommend to look at and know about?
Be happy to.
Okay.
See, 7 o'clock, how do we do? Hour? Are we bumping into